alarmist. No one seems to know exactly what happened, but certainly at least 4 houses have disappeared in a smoke and flames. Apparently the aircraft has hit a hill about 3 miles from Lockerbie.
It does sound like a scene of great horror indeed as the Pan Am flight, a 747 flight number 103, crashed with a great explosion tonight on the
people on
board.
board, 255 adults and 3 children. It came down on the village of Lockerbie.
Eyewitnesses in Lockerbie say the aircraft crashed near a petrol station. There was a huge ball of fire.
The sky lit up.
It was like liquid fire started to rain down on the car and bits of concrete and debris.
Control authority that there had been an explosion on the ground and this coincided with
The jet hit a petrol station. It wrecked houses on the south side of Lockerbie. The fuselage reportedly split in 2, but cars on the main Glasgow road have been hit by debris. At a hotel companion, customers
why the plane crashed. Officials say there was no other airplane
some houses on the south side of Lockerbie reportedly disappeared.
The plane crashed
Those
from
whose homes were
33,000
unhit
feet
were mostly
without even
making
time to
tea at the time.
Madeline! Madeline!
Mrs. Livingston!
Madeline, sweetheart!
Mrs. Livingston!
Answer me, Maddie, please!
Are you sure she's out here?
Yes, I saw her run in this direction. She's roaming the hills again, looking for our son's remains. She's been roaming for 2 days now, ever since we got here. Morning, noon, and night, it's all she does. Madeline! It was all I could do to get her to attend the memorial service. And now she runs out of the church before it's over. Doesn't even grab her coat. She'll catch her death of cold if we don't find her first.
We'll find her. Don't worry. I've lived in Lockerbie my whole life. I know these hills like I know myself. Mrs. Livingston! Come on, love! Come back to us!
It's a hell of a night to be out. Cold and damp.
When the fog clings to the hills like this at night, it means the morning will be clear.
It's been 7 years since our son died in the crash. 7 long years, and still Maddie can't seem to put aside her grief. No, I thought her sorrow would diminish with time, but it hasn't. It's as strong today as it was the day he died. I don't understand it. You know, the other families have gone on with their lives. Why can't she?
The other families had a body to bury.
The body. Now maybe with a body things would be different.
The body, she would have a coffin, or an urn, or a gravesite. A place to put her grief. But your wife has no such place. All she has is the sky where he vanished. The sky was not meant to be a burial ground. It's too big. And when you store your grief there, it runs wild.
Yes. And now that she's here in Lockerbie, it seems it's running even wilder than ever. You know, it must be these hills. They've got a strange sort of power, these hills. Don't they?
Yes.
And beauty. You know, it's funny, beauty is the last thing I expected to find in Lockerbie. Look, this is the first time we've come. I was afraid to bring her all these years, afraid it would make her grief even worse. And it has. I don't know, maybe I did the wrong thing by bringing her here. I just thought that maybe if she came on the anniversary to attend the memorial and see the monument and meet the other families, maybe then she'll stop weeping. And she's been weeping for 7 years. She lies on the couch and weeps all day. She can't stop, or won't. Our friends have given up. They don't call or visit anymore. I mean, their patience is worn thin. Mine is worn thin. I didn't think it was possible for two eyes to cry so many tears, but it is. I've seen an ocean pour from her eyes.
There is no greater sorrow than the death of a child.
No, there's not. He was our only child. He was 20 years old.
Adam Alexander Livingston.
Do you know his name?
Everyone in Lockerbie knows the names of everyone who died.
Well, everyone in Lockerbie is very kind. You are very kind. I'm at my wit's end here.
I know you are, love. We all are. Olive! Olive! Over here! Olive, is that you? Aye. Where is she? Hello.
Hello.
You're Mr. Livingston, aren't you?
Yes.
Are you all right?
I'm fine, thank you. It's my wife that's the problem.
Have you found her?
No, not yet.
We saw her run from the church in the middle of the service.
When they light the candles and read the names of the dead.
We were worried.
We saw her roam in the hills this afternoon.
Yesterday too, and the day before.
Can we help?
Thank you, but I'm not quite sure what to do yet.
Why don't we split up and continue to look for her?
Well, this is the place she keeps coming back to. I think we should stay right here.
All right then. That's what we'll do. Olive, we just got word from Hattie down at the warehouse. What's the news? The mayor came out of the meeting with Mr. Jones.
He didn't succeed.
Has Mr. Jones announced yet what he's going to do? No, but he revealed his plans to the mayor.
Olive, he's going to burn the clothes.
Burn the clothes?
Everything from the shelves of sorrow will be incinerated at dawn.
I was afraid something like this was going to happen.
Now that the investigation is over and all the evidence from the terrorists have been collected, they're going to start burning the clothing of the victims.
I didn't know there were any.
There's quite a lot, actually.
Over 11,000 articles. Why is Mr. Jones going to burn them? Government procedure.
Blood and fuel contamination, he told the mayor.
The women of Lockerbie have petitioned the American authorities in Washington to release the clothing to us.
We want to wash the clothes and return them to the victims' families.
Well, some families may not want them, you know. I know I, for one, wouldn't want them.
Each family can decide that for themselves.
Besides, it's something we must do.
Not only for the families, but for ourselves.
We need to give love to those who have suffered.
You do? Why?
So evil will not triumph.
That's very kind of you.
Not really, we're just doing what we want.
What we would want others to do for us. When evil comes into the world, it is the job of the witnesses to turn it to love.
Aye.
We were the witnesses. We're simply doing our job. But your government has not been very responsive, I'm sorry to say.
They sent a man from Washington, Mr. Jones.
George Jones.
To shut down the warehouse. He won't even return our phone calls.
He's too busy to bother with us women.
He didn't even attend the memorial service.
He's only been in Lockerbie for 2 weeks. He doesn't understand the situation.
He didn't see the destruction.
What can you do?
Aye. What's the next step? Time's running out. In 8 hours, the clothing will be burned. Don't worry. Hattie and I worked out a strategy this morning.
Hattie, that's the cleaning woman from Mr. Jones's office.
She's one of us. She's going to call Bishop Lang. He's offered to help.
Please, Mrs. Allison, it sounds like you're needed in the city with much more important matters.
No. It's best that I work from behind the scenes. If Mr. Jones gets wind that Olive is around, he'll call Scotland Yard.
The day he arrived in Lockerbie, she cornered him in the market.
When he tried to get away, she grabbed his arm and started to yell.
I didn't yell.
Olive, dear, you yelled.
I spoke. Forcefully. With great conviction.
She terrified the poor man.
He wouldn't listen to me.
Olive's going to stay in the background tonight.
Generals don't belong on the front lines anyway.
Besides, I should stay here with you. Your wife's struggle with grief is the struggle we all share. It threatens to tear us apart too.
It does.
Adam!
Maddie?
Is that her?
Yes, yeah, Maddie! Maddie, over here!
Where is she?
There! Adam!
Poor thing.
Look how she wanders. Her spirit broken.
It breaks my heart to see her.
She's like a tree. It's been struck by lightning.
Split down the middle with grief.
Adam!
Maddie! Maddie, over here!
He's here, Bill. Adam is here. I can feel him.
Put your coat on.
When I walk over these hills, I can feel him.
Well, good.
If only I could find him. If only I could find part of him. A bone. The bone from his chin. He always had such a strong, firm chin. And what I would give to just talk to him, even if it was only to say, pick up your socks, and he would say, Mom. Remember how he would say that, Bill? How he would roll his eyes and say, Mom.
Yes, yeah, I remember. And I also remember how mad you got when he did that.
I never got mad.
You always got mad. You would shoot him a look and say, don't mom me. Where are you going?
To find him.
Maddie, there's nothing to find, okay? The bomb went off in the compartment under his seat. Everyone in that part of the plane vanished. You know that.
There's got to be something of him somewhere.
Maddie, please!
Mr. Livingston, you can't reason with grief. It has no ears to hear. Let her walk the hills and tread a grief into the ground. Do you think you should go with her?
Do what?
Walk the hills. Tread the ground a little yourself, perhaps.
If I do that, I'll just make matters worse.
All right, then. We'll stay nearby and wait for this to run its course.
The candlelight procession has begun. They're heading up to the town square for the all-night vigil.
Some are going to Landhill to pray up the stone wall. Used to be. You could celebrate on that wall, remember?
Aye. The solstice.
The winter solstice.
Every December 21st. We go up there, light a bonfire, and we sit and wait for the return of the sun.
And when it appeared, we'd pop the cork and toast the coming of spring.
Things are different now.
December 21st is no longer a day of celebration. It's a day of mourning.
A day when we pray for the dead.
Funny, the solstice is not something we celebrate in New Jersey. Don't know why.
It's because you're in the middle of
The middle?
the earth. Away from the extremes of darkness and light.
Look, your wife?
What is she doing?
She's talking to herself. She's been doing that a lot lately. I'll come home from work to find her sitting by the window, talking to the sky. And late at night, she wanders through the house talking to Adam as if he was there in the room.
What does she say?
She just keeps going over and over the moment she heard the news. Over and over the moment of his death. Just like she's roaming these hills now, but with words, just going over and over the same ground.
Grief needs to talk.
Yeah, well, I've stopped listening. I can't take it anymore.
Let us talk to her. Maybe she'll listen to us.
Let us listen to her. We haven't heard her story before.
What is old to you is new to us, and who knows? We may hear something in what she says that can help her.
By all means, go ahead. I'll give anything a try.
Mrs. Livingston!
Mrs. Livingston, may we talk to you?
You want to talk to me?
Yes.
I want to talk to the crazy lady.
Maddie.
No. That's not why we're here. It's alright if it is. It's alright, too, if you think I'm crazy. Because I am.
You don't think you're crazy.
I'm roaming the hills to find my son's dead body. Only a crazy person would do something. Or a mother. I'm not a mother anymore.
Mrs. Livingston.
Talk to us, please. Tell us your story.
Tell us where you were and what you were doing when it happened.
We need to hear it.
And we need to tell our stories too.
7 years ago, life as we know it came to an end. And we are still suffering.
I was in the kitchen. I was baking a pie for Adam, a pumpkin pie to welcome him home. The TV was on, I like to listen to it while I'm cooking, and it was tuned to a soap opera. All my children. One of the couples was fighting, and it was all because the woman was pregnant because she wanted to get an abortion. Don't be a fool, I say to the woman. Have the baby. I grab more flour and sprinkle it onto the dough. I roll it out once in each direction, like this, the way my mother taught me. And then Ted Koppel comes on the air. I knew immediately that something was wrong. You only hear Ted Koppel's voice in the night, never in the day. He said,
"We interrupt this program."
I thought, oh dear, something awful has happened. And so close to Christmas. What a shame. I grab more flour and sprinkle it. I roll out the dough. I hear,
Pan Am 103.
The pie dough sticks to the rolling pin.
Pan Am 103 was last seen in a fireball over Scotland.
I double over, I sink into the kitchen counter. My face presses into the pie dough and it is cold on my nose and on my cheek, and I cannot stand up, so I grope the counter for something to hold on to. My arm hits the flour bin and it crashes onto the floor, and my feet are covered in flour. I reach for the handle of the refrigerator and I pull myself up. And there in front of me is a note held by a magnet that says, Adam, 7 p.m., JFK, Pan Am 103. I live in New Jersey. I have 2 cars in the driveway. This was not supposed to happen to me.
You think the worst can't happen.
You think that it won't.
But then one day, it does.
The poor soul of television is suddenly you.
The faraway disaster lies in the flour that falls on your kitchen floor.
Let's light our candles, shall we? I brought them from the church. We'll keep our vigil here, together, in this place where your son died. No. Lighting candles will bring me no comfort. I could use the comfort of a candle.
I could too.
Mr. Livingston, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Death is a guest whose visit is short. When he comes to your house, it never stays. It just pokes its head in the door to drop something off.
And is gone.
But grief is a guest who stays too long. Its visit turns from days
into weeks,
into months, into years.
It takes over your house and will not leave.
It wears a dark coat. It sleeps in your bed all day and sits in your chair all night.
It rearranges your closets and your cupboards.
It leaves dirty dishes in the sink.
Wherever you go, it follows.
Whatever you do, it watches. It hovers behind you, looking over your shoulder, so you cannot forget that it's there.
Yes.
I was driving to the petrol station.
I was walking the dog. I was baking a pie, like your wife.
And suddenly, the sky turned red.
The ground shook, the pie fell. The tree at the end of the lane burst into flames. I ran to the door.
I slammed the brakes.
I turned and looked. My neighbor's rose garden was on fire too. Green bushes with wee buds of fire where flowers should have been.
I jumped jumped out of the car.
I ran out of the house. There, on top of a hill, was a suitcase. A red suitcase. Sitting there as if someone had set it down. People were running from their homes, screaming and crying.
Gordon McPherson was kneeling in the middle of the street, holding the body of his daughter, and his wife was sitting beside him, pushing her fist into her eyes.
When I got to my house, the lights were still on, but the roof was gone. I unlatched the gate. I stepped into the yard and someone yelled, "Don't go in there!" But I didn't listen. I had to see what had happened. I pushed open the door, and inside my living room was a pile of bodies.
71 bodies, still strapped in their seats. Suddenly there were helicopters and police sirens all down Lockerbie Lane. There were Christmas carols playing.
And up above, letters from mailbags veiled from the clouds.
They slowly drifted to the ground and covered the street like snow.
We saw the wreckage, the things they wouldn't show on the telly.
We saw the bodies
And the body parts, strewn like litter along the streets.
and we saw the faces.
God, the faces. The faces of the dead. It's the faces that haunt me the most.
Some had been asleep when it happened. Their faces were so peaceful.
But others were awake. Their faces were frozen in horror and disbelief. They knew.
Yes, they knew.
You could tell. They knew what was happening. We live in Lockerbie.
Lockerbie, Scotland. A tiny little town with a rolling greenhouse.
North of the Solway Firth in the Dumfries region of the Scottish Lowlands, where the Annan River meets the Kinnell and the Muppet.
But not exactly.
No, not exactly. We're off to the side a bit off the beaten path.
Far away from the troubles of the world.
Trouble just doesn't come to Lockerbie, Scotland.
There's nothing for it to do here.
Except graze with the sheep or take tea in the afternoon.
But one day. Yes, one day in an instant.
In the blink of an eye, a twist of fate rained metal on our roofs. The fog that clung to our gentle hills turned to smoke, and the gentle rain falling from the sky turned to blood. Mr. Livingston,
Are you all right?
we've upset you.
No. No. I just didn't know.
I never should have let him study in London. I never should have let him go so far from home. He was too young, much too young to go so far from home. I should have been more firm. I should have said, no, you cannot go. Or yes, you can stay as long as you want. Oh, God. Why didn't I just say that? And why did I check the box for Pan Am? There were 2 boxes on the application form. Why didn't I check the box for Delta? And I should have let him stay for an extra day, but I said, no, I want you home for Christmas. I want you home for the party. Your dad has a bad back, and he needs your help hanging up the Christmas lights. And why did I plan the party for Friday? I should have planned the party for Saturday. If I planned the party for Saturday, he would have never been on that plane. And
Maddie. We couldn't have had the party on Saturday. Remember? Saturday was Christmas Eve. We never had the party on Christmas Eve. We always had the party the day before.
You can have a party on Christmas Eve.
Yes, but we never did that.
You should have flown on Delta.
You didn't like Delta.
I could have said, no, you can't go, or yes, stay as long as you want.
You let him go because you loved him. And you brought him home because you missed him. You did what any mother would do.
I should have hung the Christmas lights.
Maddie.
I could have gotten up on that ladder myself.
I wouldn't have let you. Okay, there's nothing you could have done to prevent this. This tragedy didn't happen because of you. Get a hold of yourself. Maddie! Maddie, come back, please! She's getting even worse.
Our lives are made of choices. Hundreds of little choices that determine our fate, each with a consequence we cannot see.
You check the box for Delta and your son lives.
Check the box for Pan Am and he dies.
You walk the dog early one day and escape the disaster that falls on your house.
You go to the petrol station before you go to the market and you find yourself standing in the middle of the wreckage.
Choices.
Such little choices.
That create such big results. You duck under a doorway to get out of the falling rain, and you meet your future husband.
Take the train instead of the bus and meet your long-lost friend you haven't seen in years.
Sometimes I wonder if the choices you make are yours at all.
Or if they're made by something else. Something greater, like God.
Yes. Sometimes it seems these things are fated.
Fated, yes. Meant to happen.
And sometimes it seems they're not. Sometimes it seems they're not meant to happen, they just do. For no reason.
If I ever meet his killers, I will kill them. No, I will more than kill them. I will torment them. I will inflict on them the same measure of pain they've caused me.
Maddie!
They should suffer. At the very least, their suffering should equal the suffering they've caused.
You can't repay endless suffering.
Oh, yes, you can. And you know how? With endless pain. That's how. And let me tell you, pain is a gentle word to describe what I would do to them if I ever got the chance. I would bind their hands and feet with wire. I would cut them with sharp knives. I would grind cigarettes into their eyes.
Maddie, what's gotten into you? Okay, this is a vigil. We came here to find peace.
I want justice. I won't find peace until there is justice.
That's not justice. That's revenge.
Those men killed your son. They killed 270 people. They destroyed our lives.
Maddie, please.
How can you be so cold?
Because rage won't bring him back. Honey, I know you're angry.
Goddamn right I'm angry. I didn't deserve this.
No, you didn't. None of us did.
I was a good mother and a good wife and a good neighbor. I made cookies for the bake sale. I gave money to the swim team. I remembered birthdays and I pitted cherries and I peeled grapes to make your favorite pie. And this is what I get. This is how I'm repaid for being thoughtful, for being loving, for leading a good life.
Honey, I know.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. Okay, I know it's not fair. But Maddie, life's not fair. And at some point you just have to accept that and move on.
Move on? To what? What is there in a day to move on to? Breakfast, lunch, dinner? No. I don't know how anyone could move on after something like this.
I moved on.
You didn't love him as much as I did.
Maddie.
If you did, you wouldn't have gotten over it so fast.
Maddie, that's not true. You know that's not true.
You cleaned out his room. You gave away his belongings.
I did that to help you.
Go on as if nothing else happened.
What am I supposed to do? Okay, stop living, spend my days weeping on the couch like you?
You didn't cry at the funeral. You didn't cry when you got the news. You didn't cry at all.
How could I, Maddie? Okay, I had to do everything. I had to do everything to keep you from falling apart. I had to send the medical records to Scotland. And I had to talk to the friends and the neighbors, and I had to talk to the reporters who stood out on line with cameras taking pictures of my grief. I even had to take his Christmas presents back to the mall because you couldn't stand the sight of them under the tree. I mean, do you know what that was like? Could you even imagine? Just try and imagine what that was like. What do you say to the sales clerk What do you say to the 16-year-old schoolgirl standing behind the counter at JCPenney's, who smiles and asks, "Why are you returning the sweater, sir?" Do you tell her? I could tell it was her first job. Her face was round and her hands were still chubby like a child. What do you say to someone so innocent? This is for my son, but he died. He was blown to bits by a bomb. The plane he was taking home for Christmas crashed. What do you say? What do you say to the pretty young schoolgirl with red and green ribbons in her hair? I just looked at her. I said, "My son." I cannot tell her. I cannot show my grief because to do so would take her innocence from the world. So I say, "My son, my son doesn't need this anymore." And then I breathe a sigh of relief, because I think I've gotten through it, but no, it doesn't stop there. No, she smiles and asks, "Would you like to exchange it for something else?" I mean, do I want to exchange? Oh, yes. Oh, no, yes. Yes. Oh, no, what I would do to exchange it for something else, but I say, "No, thank you. Your store doesn't carry what I want or need right now." And then I go to the next store to return the Nikes. And the next store to return the pajamas. And the next store to return the bathrobe and the bike helmet and the blue jeans. Yeah, I go to 6 stores before the day is through. I have the same conversation with every single person. She's right. I didn't show my grief. I couldn't. I had to keep myself numb just to get through it. Madeline! Oh, God. I'm so sorry. I just don't know what to do.
The dark forest leads to an open field. The dark valley rises to a mountain where the sun shines bright. Spring follows winter, and morning the dark night.
There's an order in the world, an order behind the chaos and the violence.
And there's a purpose.
Yes.
The sun never set, we find no beauty in the sunrise.
If the night was full of light, you would not see the stars.
And if hatred never pierced our hearts, we would not know the power of love.
These things are given to us for a reason.
Though the reason is never made fully clear.
They are given to us so we may learn and grow.
No one is given a burden they are unable to bear.
You have to trust in this.
Yes.
Trust in the rising sun and the stars that shine at night.
Trust in the strength of love to overcome the awesome power of hatred.
Trust. Yes, trust.
And believe that behind the suffering of this world, there is a purpose to everything.
I want to believe that. I want nothing more than to believe that this has happened for a reason. But I can't. To believe that would mean that Adam died just so that I could learn and grow, and that's not true. There is no lesson so important that it was worth the price of his life. And to believe that would mean that I am the center of the universe and that all things happen for my benefit, and they don't. The events of this world, the horrors, they just happen. And they happen for no reason. And at some point you just have to accept that and carry on with your life. Just accept the suffering that comes with it. And find some way to keep going. And love helps. And goodness and kindness do too, but the only reason they are in this world is not because God gave them to us, but because along the way we found that they make our lives a little easier to bear. If there is a God, and sometimes when I lie in bed at night, I think there isn't, but if there is, he is absent from this world. And he pays no attention to the needs of men.
His words have left me with nothing to hold on to.
Olive?
Love, are you all right? My faith is hanging by a thread again, ready to break. How easily my faith is broken.
Mine too.
It breaks often, my faith.
I lose it at night when I'm lying in bed.
I lie awake at night too.
But in the morning, when the first rays of sun hit my window, it is restored.
But then the night.
The night
comes again so quickly, doesn't it?
Funny. The world won't let you keep your faith, but it won't let you lose it either.
No.
So what do you do?
I bake scones.
I clean the house. My house has been spotless for the last 7 years.
And I always bake extra so that I can give them to other people.
I've got to go to the warehouse. I have to get the clothes. I have to find some way out of this dark valley before the night is through.
God damn it! God damn those goddamn women. Jesus H. Christ. Reporters. They called in the goddamn reporters!
Hattie! Oh, Hattie, you're a fool. Grab your mop, but not your coat. You're going to freeze to death, you are. Unless Mr. Jones gets back to the warehouse quickly. That is he.
Ah, damn reporters!
Oh, what in the devil is he doing out here? Roaming the hills? Maybe he's having a change of heart, he is, and came out here to have a think on it.
Hattie? Hattie, what are you doing out here?
Just cleaning up a bit, Mr. Jones.
Hattie, you're mopping grass.
It's gotten muddy, sir, from the rains. I thought if I attacked the problem at the source, I could cut down on all the mud getting tracked across your office floor.
You followed me out here, didn't you?
Hi, Mr. Jones. I would never think of doing such a thing.
You've been spying on me ever since I got here. Always swishing your mop outside my door, listening to my conversations.
I swish my mop to clean the mud you track on the office floor, sir.
Do you remember the oath you signed with the American government, Hattie?
Oath, sir?
Yeah, the paper you signed when you took this job.
Aye, sir, I do seem to recall some paper.
In this paper, there was a provision for spying. Do you remember that provision, Hattie?
I'm sorry, sir, but I don't. You see, I don't read.
Oh, yeah, you don't read, huh?
No, I'm just a cleaning woman, sir. The only thing I know how to do is mop floors.
Then what are those books you've always got in your pockets?
Books, sir?
Yes, books.
Oh, books. What? They're picture books. Full of pictures.
They're not picture books, they're romance novels. I see you sneaking into the broom closet to read them, and I hear you sighing in there when you do.
I don't sigh, sir.
You sigh. You sigh for the romance when you read those books.
No, sir, you're wrong. I weep and romance for the lack of it.
Weep, sigh, it's all the same to me. But you read them. And you read that oath because I saw you read it.
No, sir, I didn't. I was just moving my eyes.
You know Washington does to spies, Hattie?
No.
They put them in jail.
Oh.
Take this as a warning. Stop spying or I'll have Washington put you in jail.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, help!
What? Hattie, get back here. Hattie! Who's going to put you in jail?
Mr. Jones. He's accusing me of being a spy.
Mr. Jones. The Mr. Jones. You've heard of me?
Oh, yes. The women have told me all about you.
Oh, no. Are you a reporter?
No, I'm a tourist.
What are you doing here?
I'm visiting my son for the holidays.
Oh. Well, good. Well, hey. Don't listen to what the women are saying about me. They have got it all wrong.
And I say, sir, that the women have got it right. He's a bully, he is.
I'm not.
And he ought to be ashamed of himself. Picking on an old woman like me.
I didn't pick on her.
He was picking on me, sir. Right before you got here. He chased me over that hill.
I didn't chase you over the hill.
Him, a full-grown man. Chasing me. An old woman. And scaring me half to death by threatening to put me in jail.
I'm not going to put you in jail.
All right, then. I'll be on my way now that that's settled.
Where are you going?
Back to the warehouse.
To do what?
To mop the floors.
What floor?
The floor in your office.
Hey, stay out of my office!
Oh, but there's mud in your office, sir. You didn't wipe your feet.
I don't want you going in my office. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. You may leave.
You may.
These women are driving me crazy. Look, let me give you some advice about the women of Lockerbie. Don't be fooled by the lace on their collars or the flowers on their teacups. They're not the sweet little old ladies they appear to be. They're tigers. They're ferocious. You know what they just did? They just called in the television crews, the networks, the American networks. They're all down at the warehouse with the reporters waiting to hear a statement from me. And that's not all. They've got 200 women with them. 200 women! With candles. They're trying to create an international incident, these people.
I thought Lockerbie was already an international incident.
Lockerbie? Hardly. The whole world forgot all about Lockerbie. They forgot about it 2 weeks after the crash. But if these women get it back in the news, then it will be. And I will never get out of here.
You don't like it here?
Well, what's to like? Lockerbie is the Siberia of the State Department. But you gotta do your time in places like this before you get the better assignments. Me, I'd rather be someplace else. Someplace like Kuwait, Tel Aviv, the hot spots. And if I handle this right, I just might get there.
Then why are you doing it, if I might ask?
You mean this whole business with the clothes?
Yes.
I have orders from Washington. They want things wrapped up here, quickly. So that's what I intend to do. Look, this whole affair has gone on long enough. It's been 7 years. These people should just get over it. I mean, move on, for God's sakes. Get a life. Tried telling them that, but of course they won't listen. They sent the mayor to see me. They sent the bishop, for God's sakes. Next they'll probably send in a mother. The mothers are the worst. They come clutching the baby pictures. Little Johnny blowing out the candles on his birthday cake. Little Timmy smiling with his mouth full of braces. The mothers will drive you crazy. There is always a mother who makes it impossible to do your job.
And what about the fathers?
I have to deal with them too. Oh, but men are different. Thank God. You can always reason with a man. At least they don't shove pictures in my face. What have you got there?
Oh, it's my son's school picture from the 6th grade. He's smiling with a mouthful of braces. Look.
Was your son, on board?
Yes.
I didn't know.
His body was never found. He's still out here somewhere.
I'm sorry. What was his name?
Adam Alexander Livingston.
Oh, yes. Yes, I seem to
recall. And here is a picture from when he hit a home run in Little League. The game was tied, and the bases were loaded.
Yeah?
Yeah, and he brought them all home. And, and here is the ticket stub from the Yankees game I took him to on his last birthday. It's funny, I just found this a few minutes ago in the pocket of my coat. I haven't worn this thing in years.
Oh, well, hey, that's great. So your son was a Yankees fan. Oh, hell of a team, the Yanks. Hell of an owner. You know, I like George Steinbrenner. Always have, always will. The man knows how to run a team.
Yes, he does. Mr. Jones, do you have any children?
Oh, no. No, I don't. I don't have a wife. Well, I had one. I had two, actually. But we never got around to having kids, you know.
And it might be hard for you to understand the loss that a parent feels.
They say there's nothing worse.
They're right. See that hill?
Yeah?
My wife's on the other side of it.
Right now?
Yes.
Doing what?
Looking for our son's remains.
You kidding?
No.
Women, you know.
They're not the only ones who feel lost. Men do too.
Well, not like that.
No, not like that. I mean, that's the difference, I guess, is the women show it, and the men don't. And they show it more because we don't. You know, it's not fair, now that I think about it. The women have to do their own crying, and the crying for the men. When Adam died, I cut off the pain. I had to. You know, I couldn't take it anymore, but then I couldn't feel anything else either. And just now, when I was walking these hills and I found this ticket stub from the Yankees game, I felt something. For the first time in years.
You did, huh?
Yeah. I mean, look at this thing. It's a piece of paper. A little piece of paper. Who would have thought that a little piece of paper like this could have that kind of power? George. Those clothes aren't just clothes. Okay, they're not just things. They have life, just like this piece of paper. Please, reconsider your decision. Release the clothes to the women.
Look, I'd like to, really.
Mr. Livingston!
Mr. Livingston!
Over here!
Who's that?
The women.
Women? Oh, shit! I've gotta go. I'll see you later.
Mr. Jones?
Oh, Mrs. Allison. Hello.
Hello.
Mrs. Allison, what are you doing out here in the middle of the night?
I could ask the same of you.
Well, yes, I suppose you could.
So? What are you doing here, Mr. Jones?
Just getting a little fresh air. And you?
I'm looking for you.
Oh. Well, I've gotta go. I'm sorry.
Mr. Jones?
I've got an appointment.
In the middle of the night?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning, Mr. Jones.
Not in Washington, Mrs. Allison, so if you'll excuse me...
No, I won't.
I'm afraid you'll have to.
I need to talk to you.
I'm a busy man, Mrs. Allison.
And I'm a busy woman.
Yeah, you certainly are. You've been busy tonight at any rate.
I have something very important I need to discuss.
As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing to discuss.
Why are you afraid of me?
I'm not afraid of you, Mrs. Allison.
Then why are you running away?
I'm not running away. I'm simply in a rush to get back to the warehouse. I have a conference call with Washington, if you must know, to discuss the situation here.
What situation?
You know very well what situation.
There are many, Mr. Jones.
I'm talking about the circus going on down at the warehouse, with the reporters and the women with candles. Very well done, I might add, but it won't work.
I didn't create that situation. You did.
I did nothing of the sort.
Did you really think you could burn the clothes and not have anyone notice?
I didn't think it would turn into an international incident, if that's what you mean.
It won't be if you release the clothes.
I won't be bullied, Mrs. Allison.
I'm not bullying Mr. Jones. I'm begging.
Oh,
please release the clothes.
Mrs. Allison, please, don't do that.
The families need them. We need them.
Mrs. Allison, please, get up. Please. Look, I would like to release the clothes. Really. I would, but I can't. They're contaminated.
How can they be contaminated? They're 7 years old.
They've been sealed in evidence bags ever since the crash. They've never been washed.
We'll wash them.
I'm sorry, but I can't let you do that.
Why not?
Because whenever there is an incident at altitude...
I'm sorry, a what?
An incident at altitude.
A plane crash.
Right. Involving an American aircraft outside of the United States, the State Department has certain policies, certain procedures for disposal and containment, and releasing the clothing of civilians to victims to civilians is not one of them.
Make an exception.
I can't just make an exception.
Mr. Jones, you can always make an exception.
That's right. And the State Department allows for exceptions too. It says so right here in their regulations.
I thought you couldn't read, Hattie.
I lied.
The regulations don't apply here. This is a foreign policy matter. Every action must be weighed according to a whole different set of criteria, and justified.
Well, that's no problem, Mr. Jones. You have the perfect justification.
Oh yeah, you do, huh?
Yes, we do.
And what's that?
Love.
Ladies, I can't use love as a justification.
Why not?
Because love is not a good enough reason.
There is no better reason than love.
Tell that to my boss.
I will. Where is he?
Look, excuse me for being blunt, but you are getting too caught up in your emotions to see the big picture. Try to consider this from my perspective. I have a responsibility here. A responsibility to reduce the trauma that has already come to this community and to look out for its welfare. For your welfare.
Mr. Jones, the Scottish people are quite capable of looking out for their own welfare. We don't need you or the American government to do that for us.
This is why no one likes Americans, sir. You think you know what's best for everyone. Aye, this is Scotland.
The American government should have no say on what happens here.
The bomb was an attack on the American government, ladies. We have everything to say about it. Look, you have no idea what you're asking for. Let me spell it out for you. The clothes are contaminated. They're covered in blood. A lot of blood. Blood from 270 people. And that's not all. There are guts on those clothes. Guts. Do you understand? The clothes are not a pretty sight. I can't just let you see them. I can't let anybody see them. I mean, ladies, trust me. They'll make you sick just looking at them. They make me sick.
Mr. Jones, you seem to have forgot that we were here when the crash occurred. The things we've seen are worse than those clothes.
The things we have touched are far worse. Mr. Jones, touched body parts.
I did too. I found a woman's hand and a child's leg in my garden. I picked them up with my own 2 hands and carried them down to the morgue.
You did?
Yes.
Everyone did.
You're very strong. I wouldn't have been able to do that.
Sure you would have. You find the strength to do what you have to.
I still have the families to think about. They haven't seen what you've seen. The sight of those clothes, washed or unwashed, could be devastating.
Why don't you let the families decide for themselves?
I don't want to open old wounds.
But you won't. You'll heal them.
Well, that is where you and I disagree. If you ask me, the best way to heal a wound is to leave it alone, and that's what I intend to do. I'm sorry. I know that's not what you want to hear, but that's the way it is.
Wait, Mr. Jones!
That's my decision, and I'm not going to discuss it any further. Hattie.
Sir?
If you want to keep your job, I expect to see you back at the warehouse.
Yes, sir.
But Mr. Jones!
Let him go, Olive.
Mr. Jones!
Mind is made up, love. You can't change it.
Oh, men like that!
Steady yourself, love.
Getting upset won't do you any
Can't
good.
let him do that!
His mind is made up, love.
You've done everything you possibly could.
Not everything. What do you mean, Hannah? We can just take them. Take them.
You mean the clothes?
Yes, but
How?
I'll let you in through the back entrance, where there isn't a guard.
And then what?
We take the clothes and bring them back here. But Hattie, there are 11,000 pieces of clothing.
We can't carry 11,000 pieces of clothing.
Of course we can.
How?
Because there will be 200 of us carrying them. I'm going to open the front gates and let the women inside too. In front of the reporters and the
Hattie,
cameras.
you'll be arrested.
Yes, I know. We all will. But the clothing won't be burned. Not if the telly is showing pictures of 200 women going off to jail for wanting to do the laundry.
You're right. Come on, let's go.
No.
But Hattie...
We need you out here to talk to the reporters. Adam! We've got to go. Hattie, wait. We don't have much time. Come on.
I hope this works.
I do too.
Adam? They're gone.
They lit their candles and went back to town. They've forgotten you, Adam. Just like the world has forgotten. But I remember. And these hills remember too. Look how black they are. Even the moon won't shed its light on them. How quickly you pass. One moment here, next moment there, here, there.
What is she doing?
Here. Jumping back and forth across the street. Living, dead, living, dead, living, dead, 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 dead. What is it like to be dead? What were you doing? Were you drinking a Coke or eating your peanuts or
taking a nap? Or were you talking? Having a nice conversation with the woman beside you. Mrs. Corcoran. Yes, Doris Corcoran was her name. She was a teacher from Syracuse University. And what were you saying to her? Were you talking about London, Christmas, college, changing your major to math? And what did you do the moment it happened? Did you grab onto the armrest or hold Mrs. Corcoran's eye or close your eyes? And what happened next, Adam? What happened next? What did you do? Where did you go? You must have gone somewhere. You have to be somewhere.
Maddie!
I thought you were gone.
I'm still here.
Leave me alone.
I found something of Adam's.
You did?
Look, it's the ticket stub from the Yankees game I took him to on his last birthday.
Where did you find this?
In the pocket of my coat.
Where's the other ticket? There should be two, not just one.
Well, I only found this
If
one.
it was in your pocket, then it's not Adam's, it's yours.
Yes.
I don't want anything of yours. I only want something of Adam's.
God, you are stubborn.
Let go of me.
Why do you hold on to your grief so hard?
Because it's the only thing I have left to hold on to.
You have me. Hold on to me.
I don't want you. Don't turn your hatred on your husband, Mrs. Livingston. You stay out of this. He's all you got left. Who are you anyway? I'm only trying to help. I don't want your help. You need help. You don't know what I need. Yes, I do. Go away. No. This has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with me. You have no idea what I've been through. Yes, I do. You didn't lose a son in the crash.
No. I lost a daughter. And a husband. Your son's plane fell on my farm and killed my family. My daughter is dead. My husband is dead. A plane full of Americans killed everyone I love. I hate Americans. You started this whole thing, you know. You bombed that passenger jet from Iran. You shot down a plane full of innocent people. Lockerbie was the revenge for that. You probably don't even know about that. You're too busy baking your pies and driving your big cars and living in your big houses to pay any attention. You Americans, bunch of cowboys galloping through the sky, dropping bombs. I hate you. I hate you for this.
Oh, let's stop. Calm down.
What are you doing? I need to wash. Where are the clothes?
I don't have the clothes. Olive. What clothes?
You don't?
No. What clothes?
From the crash.
There are clothes?
Yes, but we don't have them.
We were inside the warehouse, Emma.
We got all the way to the shelves in Sorrow.
But we were caught.
They let us go, but Hattie's been detained.
And that's not all.
The fuel trucks have arrived. Fuel trucks? They're starting the incineration tonight.
They won't wait until morning.
Olive, they're going to start burning the clothes.
Mrs. Livingston!
Where are you going?
Olive!
Wait, we're coming with you. But Olive, no!
Mr. Livingston, what's going on?
What happened? Miss Livingston, what are you doing?
I'm going to the hotel to get my things. I'm leaving.
But why?
Your wife will need you when she gets
No,
back.
she won't. My wife doesn't need me anymore. She doesn't even love me anymore. In fact, she hates me. And what's worse, I hate her too.
Of course you do. That's only natural.
Natural. I hate my wife.
You have to hate someone.
Mr. Livingston, Hatred is love that has been injured. If you have hatred in your heart, it means you have love in it also.
The hatred would soon turn to love. And your wife will too when she heals.
But she won't heal.
She will, you just have to wait.
I've been waiting for 7 years.
Maybe waiting isn't enough, love. Maybe you need to try something else.
Like what?
Like grieving. You didn't let yourself grieve.
If you let yourself grieve, then your wife will let herself heal. Here, sit down.
Yes. Sit here with us, please.
Your wife may not need you right now, but we do.
You do?
Yes. We are frightened.
I guess I'm a little frightened too. All right.
I'm shaking.
I'm shaking too.
Oh God, the things we've seen tonight.
Yes. It was our first time in the warehouse.
Our first time on the shelves of sorrow.
It was like living through the horror once again.
We walked through the wreckage, past the metal.
Mountains of metal stacked higher than the hills.
I felt so small walking past them.
When we entered the shelves with items from the cabin, I cried.
I did too. When I saw the seat cushions covered with blood and the pillows and the blankets.
Trays from the seat backs piled neatly in a stack.
How neatly everything was stacked on the shelves of sorrow.
I so orderly and arranged.
Everything
marked
with a number.
Mr. Livingston? Hattie?
Hattie?
Mr. Livingston, your wife! Tell us what happened, Hattie.
When she arrived at the warehouse,
Olive was with her. When they saw the fuel trucks lined up in front of the warehouse, they fell to their knees and started to wail. The crowd of women fell to their knees too and wailed with them. 200 women kneeling at the gate and wailing until the night air was filled with the cries of the women of Lockerbie. And then the fuel trucks stopped their engines. The door to the warehouse opened. Mr. Jones stepped outside. He ordered the fuel trucks to begin, but the drivers got out of their trucks. Mr. Jones marched over to the drivers and ordered them to begin again, but they folded their arms and refused to move. And then television cameras started flashing. Reporters called out his name. The women wailed even louder, and then suddenly, Mr. Jones turned and walked to the gate. When he saw Olive and your wife kneeling on the ground, he just stood there and looked at them for a long, long time. And then he reached into his pocket, pulled out a key, and unlocked the gate. He lifted the two women from the ground and threw open the gates for the others to enter. And then, with television cameras flashing all around him, he led all 200 women into the warehouse. When they got to the shelves of sorrow, the wife searched for a bag with her son's name, but there was none. She searched through the boxes, nothing. When she got to the shelf marked unidentified remains, your wife ripped open bags of bloody scraps, looking for a scrap of your son. And still she couldn't find it. And then she went wild. She stormed through the warehouse, pulling items from the shelves. She knocked down a stack of dinner trays and the passenger seats. She threw down overhead bins too and a television monitor. She punched through the television monitor, and then she fell to her knees and started to scratch herself. She scratched her arms and her chest and her breasts until they were bleeding.
was nothing of Adam's on the shelves of song. The day he was born, his feet were as small as my little finger. Remember that, Bill? Remember how tiny they were? I would spend hours just looking at his toes. They were so tiny. And then suddenly he was 16. I remember one morning I was waking him up for school, and his foot was sticking from underneath the covers. And it was so big, and there were 3 little hairs on his big toe that announced his arrival into manhood.
Olive? Coat?
Yes.
We got the clothes. All this time, I was trying to turn their hatred into love. But the hatred I needed to turn was my own.
I'm full of hate too.
Aren't you, love?
I hate the men who did this.
I hate them too.
We all do.
Well then,
Evil has triumphed after all, hasn't it?
Mrs. Livingston. You're bleeding.
She's hurt herself.
You need to wash, love.
Come to the stream, Mrs. Livingston.
Yes, let us wash you.
No. This is his gravestone. I want everyone who sees it to know that my body will be a monument to his memory. I want everyone who looks at it to know what happened to my son.
Your son deserves a better monument than that. Scratch marks and sorrow are not a fitting way to remember him. Just as a heart full of hatred is not worthy of my daughter or husband. We're going to wash the clothes to make our hearts pure again. That will be our monument to those who died here. Will you join us?
Mrs. Livingston. This is your son's. I found it with the luggage. His clothes are still inside, just as he packed them. I thought you should have it.
Do you want to open it now?
Yes, madam. I think I need to do that. Look. It's the t-shirt he always wore to bed.
Look at this thing, full of stains and holes. I told him not to take this to London, but I guess he snuck it into his suitcase anyway. Look, inside.
His name. You always put his name on everything.
He got so mad when I did that.
Look, it's a shirt he got in London. He put his name in it too.
So, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go. It's a press conference. I have to make a statement and somehow salvage the situation. So.
Mr. Jones,
Yes, Mrs. Allison?
what are you going to say? In your statement,
I don't know yet. It won't be about love, I can tell you that.
Why don't you say something about hatred then?
Hatred.
Yes.
Like what?
Like,
Hatred will not have the last word in Lockerbie.
Hatred will not have the last word in Lockerbie. That could work. Sure makes a good headline.
It does. Especially since it's true.
Well, yes. Yes, I suppose it is. All right, Mrs. Allison. That's what I'll say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies.
Let the washing begin. I don't know if I'm strong enough to do this.
I have a little statement here as Nancy and I depart from California, for California, to spend the holiday season with family and friends. I want to express our sorrow and our concern for the families and friends of those who died in the crash of the Pan American Flight 103. There are many difficult aspects to this tragedy, but none so compelling as the anguish of those families who will not have their loved ones with them this Christmas season. Christmas is a special time for the young, for those who carry the twin promises of hopes and dreams. And on this flight were the hopes and dreams of many young people, including the tragic loss of so many students from Syracuse University. A tragedy that steals the hopes and dreams from our society magnifies the loss to our society. I know that America and the world mourn the loss of these wonderful people. And I ask that all of our citizens say a special prayer this Christmas for those who have felt the pain of those losses. May God be with them.